let's jump right back to our next session, breaking the mold, green shoots of a new ecosystem.
And if you thought the desert was the highlight for the day, just wait until you hear from these trailblazers. Please welcome
Kiran Shah, Chairman and MD of Yelloskye. Their drones aren't just taking stunning aerial photos. Their drone as a service is turning every business into Sherlock Holmes with wings to solve mysteries from the sky.
Please welcome Rahul Nambiar, founder of Botsync. He's developed a fleet of intelligent autonomous mobile robots that are like personal assistants of warehouses, gliding around with grace with moving heavy goods, shelves, and trolleys. If these robots had a talent show, and I'm sure they would have won the best logistics choreography.
Next, we have Siddharth Bharadwaj, founder Beatoven.ai. They utilize advanced AI music generation techniques to create mood-based music tailored to complement your content.
Siddharth, were you ever held responsible for your investors dancing in the middle of the startup pitch?
Oh yeah, I can imagine with music that good, it must be hard to be kept seated.
Chaitanya Dora, CFO and co-founder of Dhruva Space, which is a national award-winning space technology company that's out of this world, quite literally. And Chaitanya has told me to introduce him as Dora the Explorer. They offer satellites coupled with Earth stations and launch services on Earth and beyond.
So next time before you propose a girl with a classic line, मैं तुम्हारे लिए चांद तारे भी तोड़ लाऊं, make sure to take an appointment with Dhruva guys first. After all, they can also arrange a selfie from the moon.
And please welcome Deepak Shapeti, co-founder and CEO of Morphing Machines. Their semiconductor IP products and solutions can be licensed with key customers around the world to build energy-efficient, high-performance systems and solutions.
We have Aashish Gupta to host this panel. This Aashish is different, not the gamer Aashish which I introduced for the panel before lunch. We call this Aashish as AG, who is as raw as a freshly peeled onion when he speaks. I can literally get anybody to vouch for that.
Madhuri, actually talking of which, I think there are a lot of Aashishs and Guptas in IvyCap, right?
Yeah, it's like our partners are trying to create a clone army by hiring people with common names.
Over to you, Aashish. Big round of applause for our panelists, ladies and gentlemen.
So yeah, first of all, thanks a lot, Madhuri, for this introduction. I would say, I think all my guests would agree with my introduction. I'm somehow as raw as it can get. But yeah, I try to be as friendly as possible as well. But yeah, thanks a lot for basically gracing this occasion. And as the name of the panel suggests, breaking the mold, offshoots of this new ecosystem. All the companies here are basically trying to do something which is really disruptive and groundbreaking. So let's start. This with our first company, which is Yelloskye. And we have a video here for each of our companies for basically introducing themselves. So let's play the video of Yelloskye first.
Welcome to a new era of aerial intelligence. Yelloskye creates and delivers aerial intelligence. Yelloskye applies machine learning and AI to create digital replicas and analytics for its clients. It is focused on building its AI capability to deliver superlative quality, value and ultimately client happiness. Yelloskye operates pan-India and has achieved scale by utilizing no-touch or low-touch processes to ensure superlative quality. From data capture to publishing outputs, this guarantees efficiency and precision in every project. Come, let us give you a tour of Yellowskye's processes and AI-based digital libraries. When Yelloskye receives a mandate from a client, it sets up the asset, the drone flight path and other parameters on its platform. This is a one-time setup. From this, all mission parameters like speed, camera settings, flight path, are auto-generated and uploaded to the drone. From takeoff to landing, the drone is fully autonomous, delivering steady stability, smooth curves, and flawless visual data. You've heard of Tesla's autonomous driving. Welcome to Yellowskye's Tesla of drones and automated flying. After capture, the data is uploaded to our platform. With a click, cloud-based algorithms convert it into valuable outputs. Another click publishes it to the client. Yelloskye offers 5 products: survey outputs, construction monitoring, sales and marketing collateral, inspection, and as-built BIM models, all with location, time context, and precise asset measurements. Let's explore the most exciting aspect of Yelloskye, our exclusive infrastructure digital library. With thousands of GBs of visual data, our platform allows users to find specific images and videos effortlessly. Leveraging LLMs and AI, we auto-identify features and assets, converting metadata into searchable tags. For example, the chatbot can compare construction progress between images and deliver instant insights. This is Yelloskye, Pan-India, autonomous flying, superlative quality, AI-driven digital libraries. Come, fly with Yelloskye.
Yeah, so thanks a lot, Kiran, for first of all putting effort to make this amazing video. And I have few raw questions for you. So first of all, there are plenty of drone companies out there, right? And there's been a very well-known concerns from a lot of investors that's a services business at the end of the day. And we all are concerned about how scalable it can be. So how do you think your business is different and how scalable it can be? Would love to hear from you.
So that's a good question. You are right that there are a lot of drone companies. The way my co-founder Kush unfortunately couldn't be here, and me think about this is focus on your client, focus on your technology, keep creating the moat more and more. And once you're beyond a MVP, and we're flying about 150, 170 times last month across India, you will start differentiating yourself. I think in any business, whether it's service or otherwise, and I'll come to service, you will always have competition. To think that you will not have competition is very stupid, my view. And therefore, be aware of your competition, see what they are doing, and just make sure that you're that much more ahead of them. And how do you get that much more ahead of them? Again, I think this applies to any business, but I'll talk for Yelloskye. One of the most important things I would say that matters is the client experience. You spoke about a services business. My co-founder used to work at Jet Airways. Until date, I can tell you that whether I fly Jet, I used to fly Jet Airways, I don't fly anymore, obviously. Or I fly Indigo, or I fly Akasa, or I fly Vistara, or I fly, I don't fly Go Air and SpiceJet anymore, I used to. There is a difference in the experience. And you have to differentiate yourself from a client experience. You have to differentiate yourself on technology. And you have to do it repeatedly because you have to build reputation through excellence. That technology to automate your processes such that you can scale, and that is what is going to make sure that scale is there. Indigo does 650 manned flights a day, but they still give you a very similar experience wherever you go. You can talk about Swiggy, Zomato, you can keep talking about a number of examples. It is back to technology, it is back to very proper processes. And in new technologies, you will have maybe, at least in a GDP like infrastructure, maybe 5, maybe 10 players left at the end of 3 to 4 years. We believe Yelloskye will be one of them. It is so large, this GDP, that there is enough money to be made by 5 or 10 of us. So that's the way we think of our business. Client, keep building the moat on technology and build your reputation with execution excellence again and again and again.
No, perfect. That's quite insightful, Kiran. Thanks a lot for this. I'll come back to you with the further questions.
Sure.
But for now, let's move on to Beatoven. So can we play Beatoven's video, please? That's another interesting generative AI company, and you should definitely learn more about it.
Welcome to the age of AI music. Beatoven.ai is a generative music platform designed for content creators, helping audiovisual storytellers produce original, royalty-free background tracks for their projects. Currently, the main options in the market are stock music libraries and hiring a music composer. Both have their own merits and demerits. Stock libraries can be time-consuming to search and edit, while composers can be expensive and slow. Beatoven.ai bridges this gap by offering a generative music solution using ethically sourced data. To date, the platform has partnered with over 300 artists and facilitated over 350,000 downloads, with this music being widely used in audiovisual content. Looking ahead, the platform will enable even those with no prior music-making experience to create impressive tracks effortlessly. Additionally, an alternative revenue stream has been created for musicians who contribute to the platform. So far, around 1.3 million users have generated over 2.5 million tracks. As the content creation space rapidly grows, the demand for such AI-driven tools is increasing, particularly as social algorithms reward frequent posting, making time a valuable asset for creators. As adoption of these AI tools continues to rise, it's clear this technology is still in its early stages, and the full impact on music and the broader industry remains to be seen. However, musicians and artists are likely to embrace it, leading to the creation of new music forms and revenue streams.
So yeah, thanks a lot for again an interesting video, which is very well crafted, Siddharth. So generative AI is, I think, the talk of the town. I think all investors are going crazy over what's happening on generative AI. We are seeing some amazing amount of funding going this ecosystem for last 2 years. It's the biggest buzzword of the town, and investors are literally throwing billions of dollars in US at least, and in India also a lot of them are making it. At what would you think that happens with every emerging trend, right? It goes through a crest and then eventually some settles at a sustainable trend, whereas certain trends completely fades out as a fad. What's your take? What's going to happen with generative AI?
So with generative AI, I don't believe that it's a fad. Definitely the hype cycle will go for generative music as well. Right now, it's the phase of diverging all of the use cases. So people are trying out, they also don't know, people who are building it, they also don't know what can it be applied to. So people are trying out with hugely different use cases. Just in AI music, people are creating meme songs, people are creating it for content, for gaming. Lots of different use cases are being tried, and people are trying to select some verticals, or they're just democratizing music creation for a layman who don't know, who doesn't have any musical knowledge as such. But some of them will stick, some of them will not stick forever, and hence the convergence will happen. The market will eventually be more than what it was prior to the hype cycle. So it will have a divergent and then emergent behavior, and behaviors will change over time for all of these. As already ChatGPT, Midjourney have seen, like their revenues have increased, have stabilized at a certain point now. And
the biggest question is whether people will pay for it, or what kind of business model is gonna emerge. Are consumers directly gonna pay for it, or is it gonna be corporates, or is it gonna be some other interesting business model? That's the question which all of us are trying to answer. So what's your view on that?
so at the end of it, like if you are solving a real problem, if it's a utility tool, then definitely people are going to pay for it. Some of them will also emerge as a form of entertainment, or be inbuilt like in apps like TikTok, Instagram, etc. in some form. And those will definitely create or drive some of the engagement revenues, etc. And hence people will pay for it. And again, they don't care like if you're getting music from a generative music source or from a stock music library, as long as it's serving their needs in the best possible way.
Got it. Quite interesting. So I'll come back to you with the further questions. Now let's move to the next one, which is a company in industrial robotics space, which is actually making the material move, literally. So yeah, let's play the Botsync video, please.
My name is Rahul. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Botsync. I'm a robotics company looking to automate supply chains. Globally, everyone's looking to make their processes more agile. And it's not something that is just a talk in the office, but something that's
Can you
actually
increase the voice,
to
please?
keep up with the way the world is, which is increasing expectations of same-day fulfillment, instant gratification, and that's how manufacturers need to keep up. Which is what we do as a company. We provide solutions to make customers' operations more agile through providing an integrated system of mobile robots connected to different devices to orchestrate material flow. And that's what we've been doing for customers across Southeast Asia and India, where we've been able to move parts like car parts, spare parts, Maggi products across factory floors and warehouses for our users. But what really makes the solutions really special is the software that runs behind them, which orchestrates and allows all of the automation to be set up with literally no line of code that needs to be written during the entire process. So all we have to do to set up our systems today is to log into the platform, go through the steps that need to be done, walk the robots around the entire facility so that it knows what the environment looks like, set up how the AMRs and robots have to move, using, again, our workflow builder, which requires no code. But beyond just setting up the AMRs, we allow customers to integrate our solutions to over 50 plus vendors in the robotic ecosystem today, regardless of what brand country they come from. And they can connect and orchestrate the systems together using a flowchart, again, without writing any line of code at all. Which means that for a customer who wants to automate today, they don't need to have different tools for each of the different systems, but rather they can set up all the automation that we provide using our one simple intuitive platform called SyncOS. But beyond just simplifying the integration layer, what our platform does is really helps customers to orchestrate and maximize productivity from the solutions. Like in this particular case where they had a lot of different vendors from different countries automating together with limited productivity, even though they had capacity individually. But when we came in, we were able to extract productivity from all the machines and increase the overall throughput and uptime, which they're not able to do. This is something we've been able to deliver over and over again to enterprise customers globally. And that's why we've been able to start getting our customers to expand with us across different countries today. As of now, we started the company in Singapore, but with the customers loving what we do, we've been able to expand with them across multiple geographies to countries like Indonesia, Thailand, India, Australia, and Hong Kong, as they expand their operations and want to make all their operations aligned and agile the way we're able to provide them for. So that's what we do today. To summarize, we provide agile solutions, and we're allowed to take any questions.
So your robots are definitely very interesting, Rahul, but the question which always lingers in my mind that why there's a need of a vertical solution when there are already companies like Adverb, Ogre, Orange out there which are pretty much serving everything in one single plate.
Right, great question. So humans have an amazing degree of dexterity to do a lot of different tasks with one person. But unfortunately or fortunately, machines are not the same. Even today, to do one task that a person does, you need multiple different kinds of machines. So that's what we see in the industry today. As companies automate a lot more, try to automate further and further tasks, which a person does, it comes to a state where it's not just one vendor anymore, but different vendors with specialties across different kinds of machines. And that's what we believe the long-term outlook is going to look like, where you have highly automated facilities, and it's not going to be one vendor which does all, but multiple vendors with different specialties that need to come together to create an automated facility. And as a company, that's what we want to enable. We want to enable different robotic vendors to be able to exist together in the same environment with a lot less friction than they have today.
Interesting. But what do you think that how much support and customization is needed for your product? Is it actually scalable from that perspective?
Right. So the good thing is that a lot of the larger enterprises, when they design the factories and warehouses, they try to replicate the design across countries. So even if you work with Ford in Thailand, the way the factory runs in Thailand or runs in Vietnam, runs in India, runs in the US, runs in Europe, tends to be very similar. So what we have done now is we started focusing on certain use cases within certain sectors. So automotive is one. A very common use case in automotive lines is a lot of the parts come from different vendors outside the factory. A lot of manufacturers in the automotive space don't produce everything in-house. So a lot of these components come into the warehouse. They need to be fed into the assembly line. These assembly lines are hundreds of meters long. And interestingly enough, that use case stays the same regardless of what company, what country, where the factory is. So what we're doing now a lot more is filtering out use cases and sectors, and then focusing on these enterprises across geographies. And fortunately, what we've been able to do is start standardizing our solutions offerings and make it as repeatable as possible.
Standardization seems quite interesting. Let's hope you are able to crack it really well. Now moving to the next one, that's an interesting space tech company which has marked its name quite well in the Indian ecosystem. So let's play the video of Dhruva Space, please.
Complexity and fragmentation are inherent in traditional satellite missions. Historically, customers seeking to deploy satellites have had to navigate multiple vendors and service providers for spacecraft design, launch logistics, and operational support. This fragmented approach often leads to inefficiencies, delays, and higher costs due to coordination challenges and integration issues between different service providers. Dhruva Space positions itself uniquely in the growing space industry by offering comprehensive mission solutions as a full-stack provider. By encompassing every aspect from design to launch and operation of satellites, Dhruva Space addresses customer needs with a streamlined approach. This includes custom satellite development tailored to specific mission requirements, reliable launch services, and ongoing satellite operations and management. This end-to-end service not only simplifies the process for customers, but also ensures seamless integration and optimization of satellite missions. By managing the entire lifecycle of satellite operations, Dhruva Space enhances reliability, reduces costs, and accelerates time to market for its clients, making space more accessible and impactful for a wider range of applications and industries. Looking ahead, Dhruva Space is well positioned to fund ongoing business operations and commercialization efforts as the company kicks off development of the first phase, around 120,000 square feet, of the 280,000 square foot spacecraft manufacturing facility, strategically located in Shamshabad, Telangana. In the next 3 years, Dhruva Space is keen to establish presences in key partner and/or customer markets around the world. The company is currently in conversation with nations such as the UAE, USA, and France, and Dhruva Space already has a setup in Graz, Austria. We are truly just getting started. As Dhruva Space pioneers distinct space missions for diverse payloads, we are harnessing the power of space technology to enhance life here, right on Earth.
So Chaitanya, this rockets and satellites definitely looks very, very interesting. But what I was wondering, do we really need more satellites? My phone is working well, internet is working well, even calls are working fine only.
So there are multiple reasons why the number of satellites are going to increase. I think there are about 20,000 satellites out in space right now, and of that, around 10,000 were launched just in the last 10 years. And in the next 10 years, they're expecting around 75,000 to be launched. Now, why are we launching all these? One, the technology is improving on ground, so we want the satellites to improve as well. So earlier, in night or if there's cloud coverage, you cannot take a photo, but now you have SAR imagery, which is actually letting you do that. So that is moving on one front. And on the other front, you have the governments and countries wanting their own sovereign assets. So today, geopolitical situation has been quite stormy. So every country wants their own. So originally, we thought there'll be a lot more traction for us from, let's say, the commercial aspect. But what we've seen over the last couple of years is governments, originally the Indian government, like today, till now, Indian government has not had any private company build a satellite for them. We are building 5 for them right now, and that number is only going to increase. And we are also seeing massive traction from the Southeast Asian bloc and Middle East bloc for the same, because they want that sovereignty. So yeah, these are a couple of reasons why that's happening.
This is quite interesting, but another question which I always worry about your company is space as an industry I have seen is highly dependent on the successful launch missions, and even a single failure can actually push a company back by tens of years. Seen that happening with a lot of companies. So how do you basically think about mitigating this risk in your company?
So one way that we are mitigating an overall risk perspective in space is that we are spread across the launch, building the satellite, and providing the ground station. So that gives us a wider breadth of products, reducing the risk a bit. But coming more to the point of what if there's a launch failure? So today, our philosophy is that when we build a satellite, first we build an engineering model, then we do a qualification model where it's actual satellite, but tested to the extreme. Then we do actually build the satellite that goes out into space. That always sits in your clean room and goes out. So that thorough testing process that we adopt reduces the risk of actual failure. Number two, now we are working on building satellites with COTS components, reducing the cost of your satellite, which means that the risk of that failure is limited. So there's a failure, you can launch a new satellite. So that's where we are helping.
So quality testing is the key.
Yes, testing and making things cheaper.
Quite interesting. But in the interest of time, I'll come back to you again, Chaitanya. So now moving on to our last but not the least, our semicon company, Morphing Machines. So can we play its video, please?
Hi, I'm Deepak, co-founder and CEO at Morphing Machines, a fabulous semiconductor design company. At Morphing Machines, our mission is to accelerate compute in a scalable, flexible, and sustainable manner for emerging future workloads. Our patent-protected processor Redefine combines the characteristics of all existing processors onto a single chip. Now, what you're looking at right now on the right is the current implementation of Tesla's fully self-driving computer, which consists of 3 separate processor types. And all of these can be replaced with a single redefined reconfigurable processor, resulting in a 75% reduction in cost and time to market without any compromise in power or performance. Simply put, Redefine is a smart computer chip that can change how it works on the fly to make different types of tasks faster, be it mobility, big data centers, small devices, or AI ML, or telecom networks. They all run much quicker on Redefine. It is almost like custom-made chips, but without needing to be built or developed each time. Now let us take a look at some of these areas which Redefine can accelerate.
When 4G makes way for 5G. When transportation becomes smarter. When surveillance becomes more intense, analytical, and real-time. Our healthcare becomes more sustainable and reaches the last mile. Genome sequencing is accelerated and affordable, and cancers can be tackled more accurately, bridging the gaps between diagnostics and treatment. When forensics become error-free. What's the secret behind all of this? It is Redefine, system on chip with runtime reconfigurability and a small form factor. This is the energy efficient workhorse which makes all of this possible. Redefine, system on chip from Morphing Machines. The engine for real-time high-performance embedded processing. Made in India, made for the world.
So Deepak, multiple applications we can see from your video, but which is the first one you're gonna go after?
Yeah, so thanks Aashish. So rightly, because we're reconfigurable, we can target almost any application. But what we are looking at right now to reduce the risk of failure is target application areas which have got a high tolerance for change, in terms of rapidly evolving or emerging requirements like quantitative finance, quantitative computational finance, and data centers, where the workloads are always changing. Second, what we're also doing is we're looking at the sales cycle. Typically, all areas have different sales cycles. For example, defense is a great area to work in. Self-driving cars is another great area. But the sales cycle in those areas are 2 years long. By looking at application areas which are open, as well as have a shorter sales cycle, that's why we have chosen data centers as well as computational finance at this point in time.
Got it. But aren't you going head-on with the big companies around there like Intel, Nvidia, AMDs, or are you different from them?
Yeah, so we are a co-processor. Typically, we will not replace a main processor which is running a Windows or a Linux system. We don't run an operating system. We sit behind a processor to accelerate that processor's performance. For example, we are working right now with Intel, where we will try to combine with their Xeon processor and improve the performance by a factor of 10 for certain compression workloads, for certain algorithms. So typically, it is more collaborative. While there may be some commonality with NVIDIA, but the fact that we're reconfigurable allows us to target any domain with just one single hardware, and that gives us a big advantage.
Got it. So yeah, I think we are running short on time. So first, I would like to open the stage for any questions from the audience. Can we pass on the mic to him, please?
See, we see a lot of early stage proposals, and in a very large number come with artificial intelligence, machine learning, etc. There's a lot of experience and knowledge here in this group. Can you suggest one or two parameters that we must look at? And I'm not a techie guy. When we screen things, whether it is in deep learning or neural networks, image processing, LLMs, what are the 2 or 3 things which an entrepreneur, I'm not talking of from an HR aspect like energy, etc. The technical proficiencies they must show for an entrepreneur to be successful in these areas across these parts of AI. Any of you?
Anyone would like to take this?
Everybody will have a different view. I can go first.
Yeah, sure.
I just think that if you cannot commercialize whatever you're doing, it may take a long time. It may take 10 years. It may take 1 month. I'm not referring to the time period. There is definitely a risk in that. But at some point of time, whatever that time frame is, if you cannot commercialize it and make some money out of it, you should not be doing it.
If I may, more on the technical side. So for example, when we ask on the H value of this, H value must cross 90%, you know, that harmonic factor. What is it that we look for? 90%, 95%? What should be?
I'm just saying from the same question, I come from a perspective of what the client and what the market wants. And at times you have to anticipate what they don't know, but you still have to come from what the client and the market wants.
Okay, fair.
Maybe I can share something on that. So one of the things, I think in the robotics sector specifically, there's certain problem statements you need to solve technically for it to be operationally feasible. And sometimes the cost delta for solving that particular problem makes the economic feasibility of actually solving the operational problem not viable anymore. Like a classic case is when you want, I think bipedals, robotic systems are becoming a lot more popular, but the rate and the productivity in which they solve that particular problem, which is designed to solve, if you want to keep increasing the productivity, the cost factor sometimes becomes unfavorable to make it commercially viable. So that's one thing we look at from a robotics design perspective, whether it makes sense to build or not. So hope that helps.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah,
तुम लोग सपने देखने से सच्ची डरते नहीं हो ना? No wonder you guys are making all these unreal things become a reality, huh?
AG, can you please present the token of appreciation to our panelists?
Sure.
And let's capture this moment with a lovely photograph.
A big round of applause, everyone.